G'day team, how you going? A while ago I painted the bike. I painted this colour here, which is very hard to see, I appreciate on the camera there. It's a gunmetal grey. Now when I painted it, the surface was quite wavy, so what I did in order to try and get rid of that is I hit it with 2000 grit sandpaper and I tried to buff it back, but I ended up taking up too much clear coat off, which sort of stuffed the whole paint job really. So I'm painting the bike. I'm painting it this colour here, which is like a charcoal colour. It's a little bit darker than the old. Oh, there you go, a little bit darker than the old one. Hard to see on the camera, I appreciate that. What I've done is I've used 240 grit on here to get it down. I'm going to use some primer, sand back the primer, let that dry, and then start my first coat of charcoal. And then once this is done, I will clear coat it. It's not going to be a 4-hour video. I'll just show you the steps and tricks I use. So I'm about to use the primer on this, and I'm not going to spray it here flat like that. I want to be able to move around the work without touching it, so I'm actually going to hang it up. We don't want anything coming out in big clumps, so make sure you shake the paint for a good minute or so, and I always just spray it move that around there. I just spray it off to the side a little bit just to clear the nozzle, and we're just going to do it really light passes, and you'll see it's not a huge continuous thick coat, and that's okay. It's just a light dusting. I'm going to go over it several times. Right guys, I've already prepped the this is the rear plastics, or the rear fairing. It's already been sanded back and prepped. I'm just going to give that a spray now, and hopefully get a good covering. Just to show you how far back from the item I am, the can is here, so it's probably good. I don't know, is that a foot? It'll be half a metre anyway. This is where we're at. That is the tank, still on the bike. I've unbolted it from the front. It hinges at the back, so I've lifted it up and put a sheet under there to stop all that shit from getting on the motor, because it's like talcum powder. It's extremely fine. So that's a couple of dents I've repaired previously, and when I crashed the bike, actually this probably the same size as my hand, got stoved in flat, so all of this is actually filler, which I've shaped back to match this side over here. I'm just there's a couple of spots I'd missed on here previously, so I'm just going back and making sure that it's more symmetrical. Also too, there was a high point in here, so I've just sanded that down. Also too, there's a high point in here, so I've just sanded that down as well. Just want to get things 100% happy, because I really don't want to be painting this again in a huge hurry, even though I actually enjoy doing this kind of shit. Yeah, so all I've done, used 240 grit to give it a good rough up. What's that? So that's 240. It's actually wet and dry, and you could use it as a wet and dry paper, which would keep the dust levels down, which means you don't have dust floating around in the air. So when you go to paint that stuff there, yeah, you're not going to end up with particles on it. So yeah, I mean, using it as an option as wet and dry. Problem I found using a wet and dry paper last time is it drips down, and yeah, it gets all over your motor, and it's a bitch to clean. So yeah. Right, time for primer. I've taken the petrol cap off too, and just jammed a rag down there to stop paint and dust from going in there. Okay team, so we've got the first coat on now. We're going to let that cure. Whilst I've been waiting for that to dry, because I've decided I'm going to, I've gone and polished my my fuel cap. I think it's going to look quite chic, polished against the black. Yeah, so that's one thing I did there. I quite like that. I think it's rather neat. Well, boys and girls, it's day 2. I gave up on this last night and let the paint cure. As you can see, I've put another coat on, and it's looking pretty nice, I do think so myself. I'm going to let this dry, and I'll give it another light coat in places, but it's some of it's still a little bit wet around here. Don't know if the camera's really picking it up, but it's like a really dark charcoal with a metallic fleck, and it's come up pretty nice. Got the clear coat on and just waiting for that to dry off. It's dry to the touch, and it's not sort of leaving finger marks when I touch it, which is good. So I've managed to put a majority of the bike back together. The paint is way better than what it used to be.